What's that, Robo lawyer? Oh, they've started recording again, have they? They're recording us. Well, this is week 3, and this week we look at some very important ideas about the doctrine of precedent and something called the hierarchy of Australian courts. Well, that's arranging. A hierarchy is an arrangement, Robo lawyer, of things going from the smallest to the biggest, or the biggest to the smallest. A hierarchical structure is where things are ranked. And the first thing we look at is the hierarchy of the courts, going from the magistrates' courts right down the bottom, right through to the High Court of Australia at the top. We also talk about that word jurisdiction, about that's the power of a court to hear a particular matter. One of the things we talked about last week was the common law. That's not law that's around everywhere. That's why they call it common. It's not that at all. Common law is the law which was found in the decisions of the judges, which they handed down over time, and that developed historically over a long period of time. And in fact, if you read law books, you'll see that the common law's actually got a number of different meanings. That makes it a little bit tricky, doesn't it, Robo lawyer? Yes, about we've got to know what the common law could mean in different contexts. The other one, yes, they're courts of equity. They also were established because the common law courts weren't able to deal with certain matters, and that's right, the decisions of the judges were written up in volumes like these called law reports. They look awfully impressive, don't they? And they gobble up a lot of space on the bookshelves, but in fact most lawyers haven't read all their law reports. Very few probably have. Okay, so the law reports contained the decisions, and from the decisions they worked out particular principles, and that were based on fact situations where the judges had to make a decision. Oh, that's right, yes, they use Latin terms, because originally Latin was sort of the universal language of people who had an education, so that people, if you wanted to communicate educational ideas or scientific ideas, you used Latin. So we've still got these Latin terms in law, and some of the ones are stare decisis, that means adhering to decided principles. And in fact, in the judgment, when people read it, they found out that they were the real reason why the judges made the decision, and that was called the ratio decidendi. Yes, the ratio decidendi, and the other material which the judge may have included in reaching their decision is called obiter dictum. Obiter meaning by the way or along the way, and dictum meaning speech, so talk along the way. Now, that's not the binding part of the decision, and what happened was sometimes courts didn't want to follow the decision of a previous decision. Now, that was a real problem, because if the court was further up the hierarchy in the doctrine of precedent, they had to follow that decision. But in some cases, the judges were able to get around that by doing something called distinguishing the decision, saying, now, it's different in some material respect. Yes, I'm shifting my cheat sheets, my notes, the overheads. Look, yes, I think the overheads are very important. They are helpful, but it's good if you read some more besides just the overheads. Aren't they? Can you colour in the overheads? Yes, you can colour in the overheads if you want to. I don't know if anyone else is colouring in their overhead, Robo lawyer. But Yes, the overheads are a nice little summary. So the whole thing about this doctrine of precedent was it provided an element of certainty about what the law was. The only thing was that the law couldn't be changed unless it had a decided case before it, and the courts could develop the doctrine or take it a step further or pull it back in certain areas. So there's been quite a lot written about the doctrine of precedent. It's one of the key features of our common law system, where the authority of decided cases stands there. Requires to be followed. Yes, there are ways we can get around it. Yes. Yeah. One of the ways is if Parliament changes the law by an act of Parliament. Yes, that's right, Robo Lawyer. Okay, so I don't know what... Some people sent in comments saying they liked you, Robo Lawyer. Yes, you're looking quite good today. Caught up with the times, and you're wearing your headphones too. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there for this week, won't we, Robo Lawyer? A very important week. You say goodbye, Robo Lawyer. Goodbye, everyone. I'm going to switch it off. I'm going to switch it off now. That's what I've got to do, Robo Lawyer, is I'm going to press the stop